Have you bought technical merino clothing or sleeping bag liners, but love them so much that they are now rough and pilling or full of holes? I'm going to explain how to care for your merino wool products, making them durable and comfortable for years to come. So merino wool is simply the fleece of merino sheep. Their wool has amazing properties that make it the favourite material of hardened athletes because of its warmth and breathability, but above all, it limits smell from perspiration. So how does this work? Wool fibre is naturally curly and fine. Its surface is covered with scales and has irregularities. It is this natural structure that traps air and provides insulation. So there are two weight categories of merino. We've got thin, from 100 to 190 grams per metre squared. This is a light garment with moderate insulation or warmth. It's recommended for a warm and humid environment. Or secondly, thick, from 200 to 300 grams per metre squared. This is for a more resistant garment and high insulation or very warm, and this we recommend for a cold and dry environment. If wool naturally traps heat, isn't there a risk of being too hot when wearing it in sunny weather? Thankfully, the answer is no. This is due to two great properties of wool: its high moisture absorption capacity and its interaction with external conditions. It is estimated that wool fabrics can absorb between 20 and 35% of their own weight before you feel the discomfort of being wet. However, while it still gives off some heat when it's wet, the opposite effect occurs when it's in contact with warm, dry air. This is because of evaporation. Since the passage of water from a liquid state to a gaseous state requires the consumption of heat, it escapes from the fabric into the air with a cooling effect. This process is well known to desert dwellers who use it to cool down their water in cloth gourds, and it's also how some of our modern air conditioners work. Now that you know more about this incredible material, let's talk about care, and of course washing. Now don't worry, merino wool is very easy to care for. It's perfectly possible to wash it in the washing machine. Turn your wool clothes inside out and put them in the drum, but be sure to use a specific wool detergent to preserve the qualities of the fabric. As with your urban woolens, merino wool is a very delicate fibre that requires a specific detergent to retain its softness and natural properties. Unlike conventional wool detergents, our detergent does not contain any superfluous ingredients, such as opacifiers, dyes, perfumes, which can affect your technical performance of your garments. You can machine wash your garment, but always follow the washing instructions on the label. As a general rule, select a low temperature wool program and a gentle spin, max 400 RPM. But avoid the tumble dryer at all costs, as it will shrink the garment. A quick air dry, keeping the garment flat, is the best option. You must also avoid the chore of using an iron, since it will damage the fibres over time. Wool is a little more fragile than synthetic or cotton textiles, but its advantages are such that we can forgive it. That's why we have developed products that are reinforced by the addition of polyamide microfilaments that coat the wool. But generally speaking, when we think of wool, we think of moths. Damaging your clothes during your outings in the wilderness by a branch or a fall is a risk we must accept. But having your clothes destroyed when they were safely stored in a wardrobe is both frustrating and avoidable. To avoid attracting moths, it's necessary to mask the good smell of wool that makes them hungry. To do this, there are classic moth repellents and many natural alternatives to Grandma's famous mothballs, such as cedarwood or dried lavender, but my favourite is chestnuts, the perfect excuse for an autumn walk. Their scent masks the scent of wool, which is typically attractive to female moths looking for a place to lay their eggs. It's actually the moth larvae that devour your clothes. And now you're ready for new adventures. Remember, maintaining your gear will make it last longer and perform better.